What's going on, guys? Mr. Super Nintendo here, apparently. Look at me. I'm a billboard for Throwback Gamer, gamerhats.com. Feel free to check them out if you are interested in this hat and shirt. Today's video is about the SNES Classic. You can see these Super Nintendo games behind me. Here's Teddy playing a little Mario Kart on the N64. Anyways, the reason why I'm making this video is to let you guys know that the SNES Classic has now officially been hacked. A few days ago it had been hacked, but you had to do a whole bunch of like annoying roundabout ways to get new games onto the SNES Classic. But the guy that makes this mod, as far as I know, he's the one that does all the hard work on this. His name's Cluster. You can check him out on Instagram. I'll try and leave a link in this video. If you use this hack, feel free to go throw him a couple bucks, $5. I'll probably chip in $10. He does a lot of hard work on this behind the scenes. So now you are able to add games, other ROMs to your SNES Classic. Word hasn't really gotten out from what I've seen on exactly how many you can add. I'm going to show you on the screen here what games I've added to the system. I'll go through quickly the process of Hakchi and Hakchi2. You can now download the latest Hakchi. I think it's 2.20, that is. I'm not going to leave any links, just Google it. I'm not going to show you how to do it. Just watch videos on YouTube. There's plenty of them. This video is mainly to let you know that it's now able to, you're able to now add more ROMs to your SNES Classic. And more importantly, I want to talk about the games that I decided to add to my system. So I'm just going to point the camera at the TV here and just kind of quickly show you what it looks like and how simple the process is. Alright guys, so hopefully you can still hear me here. It's not the ideal setup, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make this video pretty quickly and my capture card's been acting up. Stay tuned, there'll be some more gameplay videos once I figure out the issues with my capture card. But here is the list. It's pretty much the same process as the NES Classic. Basically, you download Hakchi version 2.20 and you can hit down here. It'll say something like download kernel or whatever. You click on that, then it'll walk you through the instructions of how to hook up your SNES Classic to your computer. You have to basically hold the reset button and hit power. It'll walk you through all of that. It like dumps the kernel to the system, I guess, and just sets it up so that you're able to add more games to the system. Then you basically just click on add more games and the software will actually convert them. There was an issue apparently with converting the ROMs to a ROM format that would work properly with the SNES Classic. Apparently that's been solved somewhat. I think 75% of the games work. I initially put 6 games on just to see if they'd work. Those were Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Tetris Attack, Tetris Dr. Mario, Turtles in Time, Mario All-Stars. I think that was it. And they all worked fine. Chrono Trigger. So those ones worked fine for me. I'm going to show you guys on the SNES Classic here in a minute, but it's a very simple process. You just add the ROM. A nice thing this time, it'll add all the information for you. It'll add release date, publisher, if it's 1, 2 players. You can choose to compress or uncompress files. So really nice. The only thing you need to do is add the artwork. I found Chrono Trigger was it didn't do a good job of finding a good one, so I actually had to go download one from Google. But this is what it does. You just pick the best one. Most of them, it's very simple. Chrono Trigger seemed to be a little bit more difficult to find a good one. But it's a very simple process. I'm not here to show you the process, just wanted to give you a quick overview. We're gonna head over to my SNES Classic and plug it in, and I wanna show you guys, and we'll talk a little bit about the games I chose to put on here and why I made those decisions. All right guys, here we are, moment of truth. Let's switch it on and see if these games worked out. Okay, so one slightly annoying aspect of this is you can see the games here, the original 21 games, and once you get past those 21 games, the next series of games that we just added are actually added in a folder. I don't know if there's a way to change this through Hakchi. I don't know if this is just the way it's going to be. I don't know if this is going to be changed in the future. I'd rather have all of the games shown here like you could on the NES Classic. To a point, you could add a certain amount so they would show up in the tray. I'm hoping that's something that comes later on, or maybe it's just a setting that I need to change in Hakchi. I don't know. If you know, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. But let's go into the folder and we'll talk about some of the games I added. What is this here? Oh, looks like I forgot to add the artwork for Uniracers. But you can see the artwork comes up really, really nice. Like, it looks great. It looks just as though it looks exactly the same as the games that were actually on the system. Now, one of the things that I did notice, which should happen here in a minute, was that the attract mode is off in this with this series of games that you add. There seems to be kind of glitching out a little bit, so I don't have the sound on right now, just so I don't get hit with a copyright strike, but the titles look pretty good. You can see I've added Chrono Trigger, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, arguably the best game in the series. I totally understand why Nintendo went with the first one. It's kind of weird having the second but not the first. I added Final Fantasy 2. Did I add the right Final Fantasy? Let me see here. I always forget which games were actually on the system. Yes, Final Fantasy 2 came with the system. I wanted to double check that. So I added Final Fantasy 2. I just felt like it was something that was missing. I should say that all the games I added here, I felt like were games that made sense to be on the system for the most part. I didn't add stuff like Hagane. I even left Wild Guns on. I just didn't think that they were games that made sense. I wanted to add games that I think Nintendo actually would have considered adding, if that makes sense. I've got a Raspberry Pi. I own most of the games, so I can play these in other ways. I wanted to keep it to 40. I added 40, or there's a total of 40 games here. So hopefully the save points aren't too messed up. I think that's around a total of 150 megabytes of the 300 used for games, something like that. Anyways, I added Final Fight. I wanted to have a Final Fight on here. I went with Final Fight Guy. I may change that in the future. Harvest Moon, obviously, is a game that really should be on the system. Same with Killer Instinct. Went with Mortal Kombat 2. I really hate adding a 2 and not a 1, but I think 2 was kind of the pinnacle of the series, especially on the Super Nintendo. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. There was no sports games added to the SNES Classic. This is a must-have along with NHL 94. These are the two must-have sports games. I considered putting one of the Ken Griffey baseball games on, but I didn't actually think I would play it all that often, so these are the two that I went with. NHL 94 is the best in the series, and NBA Jam Tournament Edition is an amazing two-player game, even if you're not into basketball or sports. Pilot Wings, I'm not the biggest Pilot Wings fan. I just felt like it should be on here. We've got Rock and Roll Racing. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. Hopefully I get you guys a bit of a better view. That's much better. Sorry, guys. Rock and Roll Racing. Fantastic racing game. I could have went with Stunt Racing FX, but I really enjoy this. Fantastic music. I did put Sunset Riders. These are probably the two games that may not have actually made it onto this console. Nintendo probably wouldn't have maybe considered these two. Bomberman had to be on here. I'm not sure if this is the right artwork. Super Bomberman. Yeah, that's right. I actually own that multi-tap. So I need to do a little bit more research into Super Bomberman 2, and decide which one I actually want to have on here. But you need to have a Bomberman on here for sure. Super Mario All-Stars. That'd be one of the first games that people would add, along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. What is that for? My Roman numerals are horrible. Fantastic beat 'em up. Probably the best Turtles beat 'em up on home consoles. Tetris and Dr. Mario. This system shipped with no puzzle games. Puzzle games are a key for one of these systems, I think. So I went with Tetris and Dr. Mario, along with Tetris Attack, which I don't have that much experience with. I'm really excited to sink my teeth into Tetris Attack. And this is Uniracers, which I forgot to add the artwork for. Fantastic, really quirky Super Nintendo game that really should be on the system. Zombies Ain't My Neighbors is another one that I felt like needed to be on here. Probably in my top 3 for Super Nintendo games. So those are the 19 games that I decided to add. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna wait for more information to come out, and there's always like a safe point of like this is a good amount of games to add and still retain all of the functionality of the SNES Classic. I'm more referring to the NES Classic, but I've seen people put like 700 games on these things, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep it as close to what it originally was as possible with adding a bunch of cool new games. So I'm just trying to think if there's any that I would actually take off of here. Maybe I'd like to leave Final Fantasy on there, but am I really going to play Final Fantasy 2 on here? I don't know. Might take Final Fantasy 2 off. I don't know how much I'll play Killer Instinct. Not the biggest fan. Pilot Wing. So there's a couple games I might swap out for games that I might actually play more. But I'm pretty darn happy with this list. I did a little bit of research and kind of made up my list because I knew that the hack was going to come in a few days. So that is those are the 19 games that I decided to add. Like I said, slightly annoyed that I have to use a file here. Hopefully they figure out something like that. I just don't like how it looks. I mean, maybe if I can add artwork for that file, that'd be kind of cool. Way to, I mean, it's cool that it says more games. I like that. I just, I mean, whatever. It's fine. I would just rather them all be there. So hopefully that gets figured out. That'd be really cool. So I guess I'll try firing one up here. I need to test all these. Like I said, the original 6 that I added kind of as a test all worked perfectly fine. I don't have the sound on here. I don't know if I mentioned that. Because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So let's test a big one that everybody will probably add. I already tested All Stars does work. Chrono Trigger. Let's try Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm sure is going to work. Let's try Donkey Kong Country 2. I heard that 75%. Actually, in the Hakchi2 information, it says that 75% of the games are confirmed to be working. Maybe that's just because they haven't tested them all, which would make more sense. So maybe it will be 100% in the next couple days. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below which games you'll be adding to your SNES Classic. Do you agree with the ones I added? Would you do anything different? I'm going to leave a link to all of Cluster's Instagram, the hack. I don't want to leave it to the hack. To his PayPal if you want to send him money for a couple bucks for doing all this awesome, amazing work that I could never even dream of doing. So check that out in the description below. Thank you for watching. Let's go over here for a sec. See what Teddy's up to. I think he may have fallen asleep playing Mario Kart. Look at it. You're not doing too well here, Ted. He is out cold. Controller still in hand. As always, you can find me anywhere online. Instagram, Facebook, I don't know, Twitch, at SeeJayAre. Links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next episode.